Question 40. Joe set up four similar beakers of water with different volumes of water and temperature as shown in the diagram below. We wanted to find out how the temperature of water will affect the time taken for an egg to start cooking in it. Okay, so you see four beakers here, W, X, Y, and Z. W and Z has the same amount, oh no, I think Z has the least, W has the second second least, 200 ml. And then X and Y has the most, 400 ml. Okay, but the temperature for W and X is the same, and Y and Z is the same. So which two beakers should he use to carry out the experiment? So first of all, let's identify what he wants to find out. Okay, so what he wants to find out, okay, is how the temperature of water, okay, will affect the time taken for an egg to start cooking. Okay, so if this is, I think some of you already know, alright, this is the change at the start. Okay, so change at the start, right? So if this is the change at the start, this is the measure at the end. Okay, measure at the end, right? Okay, so please understand that you should not be using these terms, change at the start or measure at the end, in your answering. Okay, this is just for us, our class, to remember, okay, what a scientific experiment is. Okay, you must change something at the start and you must measure something at the end, right? Okay, so uh, uh, your the only thing you can change is the temperature of water. So let's look. All right, W, X, Y, and Z, volume must be the same. So you have no choice but to actually use X. I mean, the water here is the same. You can see, right, that the water here is the same. All right, so it is 200 ml. Sorry, 400 ml. All right, and 400 ml. Okay, so this is the same. Okay, the volume is the same, and you cannot change the volume in this experiment because you can only change the temperature. So the water volume is the same, all right? Everything else is the same, and the temperature is different. So that is exactly what we want, right? So the answer would of course be X and Y, isn't it? The answer would of course be X and Y, okay? Let me just show you again. This is the same, 400 and 400. Okay, and then we have 50, which is different, which is what we want, and 80. Okay, so X and Y is the answer. Okay, but here you need to explain why. So how do you write all that I've just said just now? So first of all, explain, right? You need to have your claim. So your claim is we must use beaker X and beaker Y. Isn't it? That's your claim. Okay, so what is the evidence? What is the evidence here? The evidence is that temperature, right? Temperature of the two beakers are different, right? Okay, so you can also say only, right? Only the temperature, only the temperature of the two beakers are different, right? And the volume and the volume of and the volume of the or the amount of water right, in the two beakers are the same, right? So that makes it a fair test. All right, do you need to say about the beaker being similar? No need, because it's already in the question. Okay, so this then Mr. Zaki, where is the compare? Okay, the compare is this one, right? You have compared it, right? So and you compared it, and you only know that only the temperature. So this is your compare, right? Only the temperature of the two beakers are different, and the amount of the water in the two beakers are the same, right? So only the temperature of the beakers are different and the same. These are also comparing, isn't it? Okay, comparing a different are the same. Okay, so this is your claim. Your claim is beaker X and Y. Your evidence is this, the one that you've compared. Okay, and your reason therefore is x and y. So you don't have to write that because it's already in the claim. Okay. Next, look at the next one. Joe selected 3 similar eggs of the same mass. He cracked one into beaker W and recorded the time taken, and then he repeated with X and Y. Okay, so if you look at this, right, X has the least amount of what X has X has a lot of water. W, sorry, I'm talking about W. W has the least amount, but if you want to see, you can also write it like that. Okay, W has 200, isn't it? Sorry, again, one more time. Look at W, 200 ml, 50 degrees, right? So if you want to just take down some notes, you can put, right? W has 200, oh yeah. W has 200 ml and 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's W. Celsius should be big, yeah? Okay, so W has 200 ml and 50 degrees Celsius, whereas beaker X is 400 ml and 50 degrees Celsius. So you might want to write that down also so that you don't have to. So it's 400 ml but 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then for wine you have 400 ml, 80 degrees Celsius, right? So it's the same 400 ml, okay, but 80 degrees Celsius. Now if you compare this one by one, you would see that, okay, of course, X and Y, X has more, right? X has more, what do you call this? X has more volume, and therefore X is faster. Right now, if you compare X and Y, it's the same, but this time this one is more, isn't it? So that means this will be definitely lesser or even more. This would be even more, right? Y would be even more. Why would have even more, what do you call that, uh, heat, right? And Y would definitely have lesser than 10, isn't it? Lesser than 10, right? So you can put lesser than 10, right? So based on the suggest a time, suggest means you can suggest any number that's less than 9. So you can put any number from 1, okay, to 10 lah, right? So any number that is from 1 second, right, to 10 to 9 seconds, as long as it's not 10 seconds, because X, which has a lower temperature, is 10 seconds. So uh, that means Y could be lesser lah. Okay, so even if you just put, like, say a comfortable number like 6 seconds, then you're right. Okay. Alright, next one. Based on the result above, Joe observed that it took a longer time for the egg white to turn white in beaker W than in beaker X. So if you look at beaker W, then in beaker X, it takes a longer time. Explain why this is so, right? Even though the heat is the same, but the amount of water is different. So you know that what do you call this? W has more heat because there's a lot more water in it, right? But so how are you gonna write that? How are you gonna write that? So you say exactly that. If you look at the two, you will compare the two beaker. You say there is more water in beaker X, isn't it? Okay. So what? Okay. So see, the claim is in the question, so you don't have to write that. This is your evidence. You look at the table, you look at the picture, you derive it from there. So what? Why are you writing this down, right? That's the reason, isn't it? So when there is more water, okay, the water in beaker X has more heat, right? It has more heat to help cook the egg. Okay, to help cook the egg. Okay, that's the reason why lah. Okay, help cook the egg, okay, faster. All right. So where is the claim? The claim is in the question. No need to write. Where is the evidence? The evidence is there is more water in beaker X. Okay. So this is your evidence. So what's your reason for writing this down? This is your reason. Okay, now, so but that doesn't solve, that still, you have not identified the main, sorry, the compare. So the compare is this one, right? There is more water in BKX, has more heat, all right, to allow the to help cook the egg faster. So as you can see again, if there is an explain, all these elements will be there. Okay, that's the claim, which is inside the question, right? So you don't have to rewrite it. There is the evidence from the diagram, from the table, and then the reason why you chose that evidence. Okay, so this is CCR, and that's how we answer this question. Okay, all right. So it's quite a common question again. As you can see, why we go through this worksheet is because most of the questions are quite common. All right, so you need to spend some time, invest some time in memorizing this. If you have watched this, and if you have understood it, you can put it some comments in the leave some message in the comment section. Okay, uh, or just say, Mr. Zaki, I've watched this, so that I know that you've watched this. Okay, or else just look at the next question. Okay, so I hope this has been of help to you.